Hi, welcome. It's your girl Ashley, aka The Widow, and we're going to be talking about episode 4 of Moon Knight. So first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on episode 4 of Moon Knight. How did you feel about it? What are some of your favorite moments from the episode? Let me know what you think, and we're going to get right into it. But first, if you haven't had a chance to see the episode, I would suggest that you click off this video, come back, watch the episode after you watch the episode. So we're going to get right into it. So episode 4 opens up, right after the events of episode 3. We know that Steven has now been passed out because he has lost, Khonshu. And so, as a result of that, here he is passed out, in the sand. And here's Layla trying to wake him up, slap him a bit, trying to get him to get up, wake up, Mark. And he's out. So during this time, Arthur Harrow's men are, hot on the trail because they're also looking for, Amit's Shanti and where it's been hidden, in the tomb that they, after they found the constellations, which we find out later is the tomb of the pharaoh Alexander the Great. So Alexander the Great was once, the avatar for Amit. And so we get that reveal here. So later on, but here we are. She's trying to wake him up. She can't. Here comes the men. She grabs a flare. She fakes them out, which here I thought was a really great touch because we didn't see her like overpowering men, twice her size. She used, her wits, her brain, how can she fake these guys out? And, she does that by laying one of the flares on one side. They go to that side. Here she comes around with the other flare, throws at him. And I thought that was a better use of like, how can she get out of this sticky situation, right? And actually, I do want to say in this episode, Layla, because I know I've said before, in episode 2, in episode 3, especially episode 2, I felt like she was really just weak and had a lot of bad moments that just didn't seem like it fit the tone, and maybe some of her acting performances against other people in the series wasn't as strong, so it came off very weak, and especially the moped scene in episode 1. Like, give me a break. It was not strong at all. And her fighting technique, it just seemed like here's this massively great talented fighter, and you've not really given me any reason why she could fight so well. So it seemed those two things for me, just I wasn't a big fan of Layla's character. But here in episode 3, I actually liked her. I thought that she was improved a lot. I think that the emotion and dealing with things with her father, because we find out before the reveal of her father, when they access the tomb, once they discover this pharaoh's tomb, and the protectors of this tomb who are making it, they actually come in to make a sacrifice on like this kind of altar, I would say, and she's like in fear and she's trying to hide, and we hear this crazy clicking sound coming from him, and as she's scooting around to not be discovered, she knocks over one of the jars, and that also has Amit's head at the top, and he discovers her, and then the chase ensues, and then we get this really dark, cool moment where she's like running, and everything is very dark, and it gives you those horror vibes. It kind of reminds me of the elevator scene earlier, but to me this one's a little bit more it's scary to me, especially one of my favorite moments, and we'll talk about that in the top 5 moments. Is when she's running and you see his arms coming through the other side of the rock here, and then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere in the darkness and pulls her back, and you're like, oh no, what's about to happen? But then they're able, through a struggle, they come back to the other side, and the fight, and then he falls off, and she actually inserts a flare into him again with the flares, and then as a result she goes off the side with him, but she's able to recover and hold on pretty quickly and climb back up, and as she's making her way through there, who shows up. There's Arthur Harrow. And he reveals to her, I had a chance to read Mark's scales. And throughout that, I found out that he is responsible for the death of your father, basically. And then just the emotion in that scene, her not wanting to believe him, and she dealt with a lot. Having this crazy moment where she was being chased by this mummy, or this dead protector of the pharaoh. And then from there, she has this emotional and this reveal, because she was always curious about what happened to her father. And then later on, when she confronts Stephen, she's talking to Stephen, she says, is he in there? Can he hear me? And she asks him, did you kill my father? And Mark tells her, no, my partner, who is also him for possibly Bushman here, he got greedy and he killed everyone and shot me too. That's what he said. And he said, I tried to tell you when I met you. And she said, so the reason we met was that, it was because you felt sorry, basically, for the death of my father. So she even felt like the relationship, that it wasn't like a genuine, romantic, loving, that he came to her because he felt guilty for the death of her father, which obviously that's why he did. But then, the relationship grew from there. But the fact that he never told her that, it's not so good. And I think that his guilt for possibly being involved and maybe feeling like he's responsible for the death of her father and for all these other people who died, who were executed, is probably a big part of why he's had this split, because he can't deal with all of that. He feels very guilty for what has happened. And his DID is then really in overload, because when you're in high stressful situations, people with DID, these personas can come out. And here is what's happening with Mark. And you feel for Layla in this moment when she discovers the truth about the death of her father and what happened, and that Mark was there, and then her meeting him, and she thought that they had this true connection, and it was really essentially from his guilt that he sought her out. And from there, he does build a real relationship with her. A few things that I thought that I didn't like. I do want to talk about a moment between Layla and Stephen that I did not care for. It's before they go in the tomb, and she's like, trying to like maybe kiss Stephen, and then Stephen's like, you know what, Mark is been staying away from you to protect you, because Khonshu wants you to be his avatar. And like in her, and she was like, why are you telling me this? And then we get this kiss. Okay, I understand, and I know a lot of people are like, well, Ashley, how is it weird? How is it weird? It's weird to me, even though they inhabit the same body. Mark is his own person, right? This is Mark's wife. Stephen, again, he had no knowledge that he was one of these different personas, and who Layla is. And so to see that like love triangle, for me, I'm just not, it's a bit silly and weird and awkward, and I'm not a fan of it, really. But because it just doesn't set right with me at all. It's like the fact that I think that maybe that for her, maybe these are qualities that she's already, seen in Mark in a way, and to actually see them on display the majority of the time with one of the personas, maybe that's why she's drawn to him. But it's still a very strange situation for me, so I'm not a fan of that, right? So after the chase and after the reveal Layla has with Arthur Harrow, then we see her interact with Mark and ask Mark about this. Then here comes in Harrow's men, and here they're cornered, right? And in their being cornered, he's like, stop. You have a choice right now. You know what? You can give it to me. And Mark gets off two good kills, which I was actually thought that they looked really cool and was excited to see those, instead of it being a flash and him opening his eyes and then it happening and us seeing the bodies. At least we got to see this little cool moment really quickly. And then we see Arthur Harrow say, I won't help anybody who's not willing to help themselves. And he shoots him twice in the chest. And then we see Mark kind of like fall into this water. And then it seems like, again, now Mark completely is now, it seems like he's going into a sunken place. And then he wakes up, and here's the twist. He is in a mental hospital, right? We see that Layla is one of the patients. His boss, Donna was her name. She is one of the patients. Crowley, who, we saw him in the as the mime. He's one of the patients here. We see both of the cops who are the orderlies here. And Arthur Harrow is our doctor. He's the physician. He is the one who is, there with Mark and trying to cure him, right? And when we see Mark, he is absolutely sedated. He tries to get up and walk at one point, and then he realizes he's cuffed to a wheelchair. He also, as he gets up, a Moon Knight figurine toy falls onto the floor, right? And so there for a minute, I'm thinking, is he really in this hospital? But obviously, this is some type of, other dimension realm or, some, simulation. I think it's obviously another realm, obviously, just based off comic book lore and stuff like that. And then from there, he has a conversation with Harrow. He realizes when he's sitting there, and Arthur Harrow is like, I'm sorry, that I had to sedate you, aka shot you, right? Because you were being unruly. And then he notices all of the Egyptian artifacts in the office. And that's when Stephen, he's having a hard time communicating. He says to him, you shot me. And in that moment, he's able to get up and takes off running. He's running and trying to get away from them. He goes into one of the rooms, and in that room that he's in, he sees a pharaoh's coffin, and he opens, because there's knocking on it. He opens it up, and there's Stephen. So now we have Mark and Stephen, together, and they're running through the halls. They're running and they're running and they're running and they're running. And as they're getting ready to access one of the doors to go through another hallway, there's Tarit. And Tarit is not, in MCU or in Marvel. So this is the first time that we're seeing this character. This is an original character in the MCU, which is a Egyptian god. And according to Egyptian mythology, she has the head of a hippo, the paws of a lion, and the tail of an alligator, I think, or yes, an alligator, not a crocodile, an alligator. And she represents protection and rebirth, and represents life, and she protects children. Can't remember. So, obviously, she's here at the end. She says hi. She's here to possibly protect, them, and to help them escape, and maybe possibly, be a temporary avatar to them to help them, get to Khonshu, to help Khonshu escape. So overall, I had that one issue that I can think of with this episode. I really didn't like how Tarit looked at the end. If I'm going to score this episode, for me, this was the best episode so far. I'm going to be nice here and say it's an 8 out of 10. I can only think of one thing that I really, was like, twisting the lip up that I didn't like was a kiss scene. And one more thing that I didn't like was the punch, after the kiss. But that's a small thing. But an 8 out of 10 here for me. It's a solid episode. I can't wait to see episode 5. Let me know down below, what are your thoughts and opinions on episode 4? Did you enjoy episode 4? Let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope everyone is happy and healthy. And I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. You know what? You guys are awesome. Bye.